Hello, everyone. Welcome to Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 127, season 6. Today's date is May 10th, 2022. And today, once again, I have another interesting episode coming up. It's Chicago related, sort of like that, but it's a fun episode, also sad. I will talk about two things. First, I will talk about, I'm going to do a tribute to two comic book artists that passed away recently. One was Neal Adams and George Perez. And if you're a comic book fan, you would know these guys. They were brilliant, and as artists all throughout the years. Also, the second I would talk about is soft drink mixes from the 1970s, stuff that I drank when I was a kid, and it should be a lot of fun. Like, for example, Funny Face, Kool-Aid, Weiler's, PDQ, Hershey's chocolate, yeah, mostly powdered stuff. So I will talk about a couple of those brands, and that should be coming at the end of the program. Right now, the commercial will be going in a commercial break. Excuse me, a little nervous. And this program is brought to you by Country Time Lemonade. And this commercial is from 1977. Oh, I remember this when it came out. I was sort of seventh, eighth grade, heading to Bogan High School, and they show this all the time. So here we go, Country Time Lemonade.
Sure could go for some good old-fashioned lemonade.
I got something to cool you off.
No, Grandpa.
It's country time. Tastes like good old-fashioned lemonade.
Country Time lemonade flavored drink mix.
Natural lemon flavor. Not too tart, not too sweet.
Really puts out the fire, eh, Grandpa?
Country time, tastes like that good old-fashioned lemonade.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Country Time Lemonade. The product is still around. You don't hear much about it, so I don't pay attention, or go shopping when I see the lemonade. That was introduced in 1975, and it was the company was from General Foods, and then General Foods merged with Kraft in 1989, and Kraft owns that brand, and there was other flavors later on. They did pink lemonade, raspberry, strawberry. That was in the early 80s. And sometimes it was pre-mixed with sugar. And then later on they added sugar because it's not good for you. I understand that. And in the commercial, the man who played Grandpa, he was an actor named Harry Holcomb. And he was on a lot of TV, a lot of movies. The most famous movie role, well, to me, was it was in the movie 1968, the 1968 movie Yours, Mine, and Ours, that starred Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda, and they had she had 8 children, and Henry Fonda had 10 children, and they got married. So the basis of the Brady Bunch, and it's a fun movie. I like it. I watch it all the time. And he played the judge, and when they did the adoption proceedings. And I remember that, it's a classic. I like that, and according to Lucille Ball, she hated the movie. She didn't care for it. She's like, it's just a movie. No big deal. Boy, was she wrong, because it turned out to be a big hit, and it's still beloved by this day. Okay. So that's enough of that. So at the beginning of the program, I said I will talk about two comic book artists that passed away, Neal Adams and George Perez. Also, the next topic will be soft drink mixes from the 1970s, like Country Time. And I'll discuss and go into more further detail of that, what I drank and what brands were available. Some are gone, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, first up, I'm going to talk about Neal Adams. And he was a wonderful comic book artist. And he started his work in the 60s and then the 70s, and then he worked for DC Comics. His most famous work was, let's see, it was when Green Lantern and Green Arrow, the superheroes, they combined them, and they started in their own comic book. But the thing was, they started with controversial topics like protests, drug abuse, and they introduced the other Green Lantern, John Stewart. He was an African American. He was the first one, and also about the Vietnam War. And the most famous issue I remember was Green Arrow's sidekick Speedy. He was revealed to be a heroin addict, and I remember the last page of that story, and it was like, wow, that was. I think I remember the story. They did not say who was on drugs, and it was a shock at the end, and it really was a shock. I didn't know that. Also, Neal Adams did a story on Batman. It was a famous issue 251 where they reintroduced the Joker as a killer, a homicide killer. He was a killer first when he was introduced in 1940. He was he wasn't Batman's first enemy. But he was a killer, and he was famous for the joy buzzer, and the laughing gas and all that. When you get that, you have a big smile on your face, just like in the movie in 1989, that starred Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. And that famous issue, 251 of Batman, he drew that, and it's a classic. It's a classic. I like that. But now the Joker today he's a sick person, and more homicidal, more sadistic than ever. He's been portrayed on television as Cesar Romero from the Batman TV series, which is my favorite. He was wonderful. I loved him. Oh. And then, of course, in the movies, Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and others. And Mark Hamill did the voice of the Batman animated series, and he was great. I loved him. He was wonderful. Yeah, I see him do that in person when he did the laugh. He was great about that. And unfortunately, Neal Adams died April 28th, 2022. He was 80 years old. And believe it or not, I met him once in San Diego. And, he was a very nice man. I told him I enjoyed your work. And he said, thank you. I appreciate it. And what a wonderful talent. What a nice man he was. And I only saw him once. But then I saw him in Chicago. But I didn't talk to him. He just walked around. And believe it or not, that was him. And so his work will live on forever, as in paperback, trade paperbacks, omnibuses, comic book collections. If you go to back issues, you will find his work. And he worked for Marvel too. He did X-Men, but mostly was for DC Comics. He did a lot of that. He did The Brave and the Bold, where Batman and Superman team up. Classics series from the 1970s. Okay. Next up, I would talk about George Perez. And he was, I loved his work. Beautiful, wonderful work. He was famous for the Avengers and for Marvel Comics, also for New Teen Titans in the 1980s. Perfect, wonderful. They were classics, and also the landmark series Crisis on the Infinity Earths, where all the multiple Earths from DC Comics merged, and some were destroyed. But now today they existed. That's confusing. But his most famous work was Wonder Woman, when it was launched in 1987. And the previous issues, the previous series, it got a little silly with some goofy villains and not much of a supporting cast. But they were classics. But his Wonder Woman, wonderful, wonderful. Excuse me. I started collecting his issues, starting with number 1, and his artwork was gorgeous. What he did was the mythological approach, because one woman was born out of clay on an island called Themyscira, also Paradise Island, if you remember from the TV series with Linda Carter. And it was based on the Amazons lived on that island. It was based on Greek mythology, and she always talked to the gods, and I love that. And that's just like in the movie, and the star Gal Gadot, And then the classic was that they had a contest, but Wonder Woman was Diana. It was Princess Diana was in disguise, and she won the contest, and her mother found out that it was her, and she won the contest. And so he drew the origins with the gods. Then the villains came later on, very few. And he stayed there about maybe over 60 issues. And then he left because he did a miniseries called War of Gods. I remember that. It was hyped up, very, a lot of promotional advertising for that. And because to honor her Wonder Woman's 50th anniversary. But something happened, and he got put on the side with that, and he was upset. I don't blame him. But it's a good story, and if you're interested, War of the Gods, you could find it. I collected a paperback. I read it. It was great. I like that. Then other artists took over the title, and it's still ongoing. And I never met George Perez. I wish I did. Maybe I saw him at a comic book convention, but I wish I did. I would love to tell him, I love your work. It was wonderful. I loved it. I really did. He was wonderful. And when he died on May 6th, the comic book world were very saddened. They really were. They missed him. And he was one of a kind. He really was. I enjoyed his work, and I still read Wonder Woman to this day. I'm a comic book geek, and she's my favorite character. After that is Batman and Superman and Spider-Man. But Wonder Woman's the best. For me, that is. Okay. Next up, we'll talk about soft drink mixes of the 1970s. Now, I will throw some brand names if you remember. Okay, and this is what we got. They started in maybe early 60s, maybe late 50s. Kool-Aid started this. I've been at Kool-Aid a long time. And Kool-Aid is a good seller. They come in varied flavors. I haven't had it in a long time, just like before. And I remember there was a factory where I used to live on the southwest side of Chicago. It was on 74th Street and Rockwell Avenue near Western Avenue. And it was the Kool-Aid Factory. I have a photo somewhere on my file. And a lot of people worked there. And other brand names, there was Kool-Aid. There was Weiler's. It's still in business. But I remember the lemonade mix. That was pretty good lemonade. They came in pink lemonade. And I remember the advertisements for Roy Clark, the singer. He did Weiler's. I remember that was in the late 70s. It was pretty good. My mother bought a couple times of that. Also, there were two obscure ones. The first one was Shiver. It was a chocolate drink, and they came out in 78, 79. If you find the commercial on YouTube, do a search. You'll find it. And also, there was Nestea drink mix. Still around. Take the Nestle's plunge. I love that. Also, I posted this yesterday on my Facebook page and all over social media. It was PDQ. It was a chocolate drink mix. It came in flavors chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and eggnog. And you pour it on your ice cream, and it's crunchy, and you eat it. I did that one time. It was pretty good. It was a good drink mix. Pretty damn quick, or pretty darn quick, whatever you call it. I don't know if it's still made. Don't know. And there were other drink mixes. Hershey's chocolate mix. I had that when I went to Greece in 1979 with my family. My father brought it over, and it was good. I like that. Of course, other chocolate drinks was Bosco and Cocoa Marsh. That was in the 60s. And anyway, so the other one, okay, and right now I will talk about the most famous drink mix of all time. It started in the 60s, and it was Funny Face. And I will go into that in a moment. But right now, I'm going to play a commercial from in the mid 70s. It was a funny face commercial. So sit back and enjoy. Thanks, everyone.
When you're hot, you're hot. We got a lot. That's funny face.
Look, kids, lots of other sugar-sweetened drink mixes come in a 1-quart size. Sugar-sweetened Funny Face comes in a 2-quart size. That's 1 quart more, and that's a lot when it's hot.
We make 2 whole quarts and that's a lot to cool you off when you're hot. That's funny face. We're a lot when it's hot.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Funny Face. That was another famous commercial you can find on YouTube. It was from the 60s, and each of the characters talk. They introduce themselves. Like, well, I'll go into the flavors soon, and you will remember them. So here's a little history of Funny Face. It was from the Pillsbury Company, and it was created in 1964 to 1994, and they made they made limited productions in the East Coast, and then that was it. That was the end of that. And the package showed a piece of fruit, any type of fruit, with faces and costumes or like decorations. So it's kind of funny. And here are the original flavors. One was Goofy Grape. That's a famous one. He acted talking goofy like that. And there was Rootin' Tootin' Raspberry, Freckle Face Strawberry, Indian Orange, excuse me, I can't pronounce that, and Chinese Cherry. Those, let's see, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 flavors that were introduced first. And the last 2 of those flavors, Indian Orange and Chinese Cherry, they were controversial because a lot of people considered racist in a way. But, well, when you're a kid, you don't notice that and you don't understand, but adults do. I think they had a lot of complaints from ethnic groups about it, so they changed it. And Indian Orange became Jolly Ollie Orange, and Chinese Cherry became Choo Choo Cherry. I remember Choo Choo Cherry. He wore a little engineer's hat. He looked so cute. The other flavors added were Captain Black Cherry, Chili Cherry Cola, Lefty Lemonade, also Lefty Lemon Lime, and Loudmouth Lime, and Loudmouth Punch. And then there was Pistol Pink Lemonade, Rah Rah Root Beer, Rudy Tutti Fruity, Tart Little Imitation Lemonade, Tart and Tangy Lemon, Whiffed Watermelon, Top Banana, and the last one was called Chug-a-Lug Chocolate. And that was not mixed with water. That was mixed with milk. So it tastes like a chocolate milk. I should have tried that one. That was good. And another thing that was controversial is what was in the mix, and that was made with calcium cyclamate. And they were banned from the United States around 1970, and then they replaced it with saccharin. Saccharin, they were tested in labs. They were that caused cancer, so they got rid of those. I don't know about the cyclamates. I don't know if that was bad. So I don't know what they put in. So it was an artificial sweetener. Those artificial sweeteners, they didn't use them anymore. So I think they were offered unsweetened. I think they were, or not. You add sugar yourself, from home. And they had promotional, like souvenirs, like for example, mugs, pictures with their faces on it, and a couple of children's books. One was called "How Freckle-Faced Strawberry Got His Name." It's kind of cute. I like that. And their tagline was "Funny Face is fun to drink." Remember that? Yeah. So that's good. And so a lot of people missed that. They really did. There is a Facebook group for funny face. So if you're on Facebook, you want to join, help yourself. And I didn't join it, but I've seen photos of it. It's interesting. It's like a museum. They have the original packages, the mugs and all that, advertising. They showed the videos, the commercials. Oh, it's a fun group. Yeah, it's really fun if you're a big fan of it. Yeah, and I am too. To tell you the truth, I did try Funny Face when I was little, maybe a couple times. My mother bought it at the store. I think I tried Goofy Grape or in Choo Choo Cherry, excuse me. I think I did that. I don't know. And so right now I don't drink mixes like that. I drink water. I have to. And soda once in a while. But the soft drink mixes are still in stores. You still have Kool-Aid if you want to buy it. Weiler's, I believe, is available. I know they're in Amazon. So if you order online, they do have it. And also Country Time. Okay. So that'll be all for today. Thank you for joining me. I discuss the two comic book artists, Neal Adams and George Perez, and also talk about the soft drink mixes in the 1970s. And I forgot one more soft drink mix. This was called Squoze. You can find it on YouTube. And that was made by Pillsbury, but this was sort of half sugar. So it's like less sweet. But I remember the Squoze, and I remember the commercial where the woman talked. You can find it on YouTube. So I remember that. Anyway. All right. So I discussed in more detail of Funny Face. And that was a lot of fun. Before I sign off, I want to tell you about my health. I'm doing okay. I'm getting better each day. I have not heard from the doctor yet when I'm going to go see him. Nothing. So hopefully this week. So far, I'm doing all right. I like to go back to my walking. I miss walking because the weather's been gorgeous. And sometimes I'm cooped up in here at home because I'm a little weak, but I want to get my walking shoes and start walking again. It feels good. Okay. So, like I said before, that'll be all for today. Thank you again for joining me. This is Pete Costanis, your host of Vanishing Island Stories, the podcast. So, hopefully I'll do another episode this weekend. It should be a lot of fun. And so long, everyone. And here is Ray Rayner saying bye-bye, everyone, for a little traveling music. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.